So those who have been following the news heading into the Azerbaijan Grand Prix this weekend will know that George Russell did not take part in his usual Thursday media duties ahead of the Grand Prix this Sunday. Now, of course, for those that don't know, Thursday is essentially the press day in Formula 1. It's the day before the first free practice sessions of the weekend kick off, and it just gives everybody a chance to be able to speak to the drivers in these little press conferences and stuff like that. And the drivers are usually duty bound to have to speak to the media and the press ahead of every Grand Prix. It's part of their obligation as a Formula 1 driver, unless there is any kind of mitigating circumstances. And there were mitigating circumstances when it came to Mercedes' George Russell, who was not present for any of these duties, and the reason why was because of illness, according to Mercedes. Nobody saw him on Thursday as a result. However, and because of that, there were concerns that he is not going to compete during the Grand Prix this Sunday. But with that in mind, it looks as though he is going to be able to compete this weekend, because as I record this, he has of course completed free practice 1 on Friday morning in Azerbaijan, and he looked fine, he competed fine. I think he got P4 by the end, so it's a good result from him in terms of pace. He's clearly quick enough in the car at the moment. He looks alright, but he does not sound alright. If anybody heard his radio message during the session, he sounded as rough as sandpaper when he was saying that. Now, of course, people might say, oh, well, you know, so what? He's got a sore throat. Man up. What are you doing, George Russell? Get a real job. I'm sure there's plenty of people who would love to say something like that. And all I would say to that is, come on, man, you don't know what you're talking about. You know, when it comes to driving Formula 1 cars, even in a relatively lax session like a practice session, it is not an easy thing to do. It is hot over there. It is a lot of G-forces on your body. These guys are absolute top of the line athletes, and you know, they can drive around things like this to an extent, but if he's got a sore throat, if he's got potentially something like tonsillitis maybe, or something like that, I doubt it is that, but it could be. You never know. It could be something like that. That would very much cause his voice to sound like what he did. So it's definitely possible he's got some kind of cold, some kind of throat infection, something like that. And of course, you can't just sit down and chill. Like normally when you feel like that, you just want to chill out, you just want to work from home, just sit down and do your desk job or whatever. You know, it's enough effort to concentrate on something like that anyway. But when you're in a Formula 1 car, when your office is, of course, the F1 cockpit, it's very different. So I think he will compete in the rest of the weekend. Of course, it's not unheard of for someone to compete in Friday free practice, then not compete in the Grand Prix on Sunday. After that, we had a similar situation with Carlos Sainz, of course, with his appendix being removed for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix last year. He competed in Friday free practice, but didn't obviously take the Grand Prix as a result of that. This season, we had Lance Stroll, of course. He competed in Friday practice, but he did not compete in the Grand Prix on Sunday for the Spanish Grand Prix because of his wrist issue. So it wouldn't be completely unheard of, but I would expect George Russell to be in the car on Sunday, and of course before that on Saturday as well, competing in qualifying. But yeah, just a little update for you guys here on the channel. Have a fantastic weekend wherever you're on the world today, and yeah, let us know who you think is going to win the Grand Prix this weekend. I've said it's going to be Oscar Piastri. We'll see how things evolve this weekend in Baku.